Okay, so this one here is going to be a rough one because I got a lot of questions. I've been walking through these internet streets and these news streets, and this is something real heavy, but I have so many questions, so many questions. Listen, this is Kitchen Table Talk Live with Spillitboy TV. Let's get started. Hey guys, thanks so much for clicking on the video. As I said before, welcome to Kitchen Table Talk Live with Spillitboy TV. Up in this photo, what you actually see here is the makings of a whole complete disaster. It is a complete disaster. It really, really is. This is a grandmother grieving in the middle, and you see a little girl, because that's what she is. She's a little girl, 15 years old, who is actually not with us anymore. And on the other side, you actually see the person who took it upon themselves to make that happen. The nerve. Okay. So, like I said, this one is real, real heavy, but welcome to Kitchen Table Talk Live, you guys. So, I will click my button and talk about anything that really catches my eye. Most times I don't do these types of things that often, but this story really, really got me. This was just last weekend. This took place in Massachusetts, Lawrence, Massachusetts, I believe is what it was. And it all started on the 14th, back on Friday of last week. And, or not last week, but it's going 2 weeks. We're going 2 weeks. We're going into the second week. Um, just a mess because we're just coming off the weekend. But yeah, so we're going into it's been about a week and a half. Okay. Horrible. Horrible. But we got this little girl. She's 15 years old. 15 years old. She was fatally shot. She was shot multiple times to uh the neck and the torso and in the head by her 21-year-old boyfriend. Okay. So now I know you all see why I have questions. Why I have questions? Because there's so many things that are just out there. There's so many things with it that's just out there and what's not being said. So I'm going to say that again for the ones in the back. She is 15. Her name is Ahliana Dickey. 15 years old. She's in the 8th grade. There's questions with that. We'll get to it. She's in the 8th grade. Trevor Bady was her 21-year-old boyfriend who ended up shooting her to death in her apartment and then left her in her apartment. There's questions around that. Questions around that. Taco Lover, you said, okay, from Maddie. Okay, so I didn't know Maddie had actually spoke. Maddie spoke about this too? I have to go look it up. I go look it up and see what my sister is actually saying about it. I had no idea that she did this today. Was it today? Was it today, Taco Lover? Leave me a message down there in the chat. I'll definitely have to go see what my sister had to say about it. But I know she did it. But yeah, so anyway, moving on, and I'll go back and I'll definitely go see what Maddie had to say about it. But yeah, she's 15 in the 8th grade. He's 21, grown as hell. And whatever reason, he goes ahead and he murders this girl and leaves her in her apartment. Her family actually realized that something was going on when she didn't show up for graduation. Her 8th grade graduation, was that next day, and she didn't show up for graduation. And they go, and by 6 p.m., they actually discover the whole grisly situation that went on. There was a lot of surveillance and stuff like that that gave a lot of clues. Thank God for our technology that we actually have, but a little too much, too late, in the process. But again, I got more questions around all of that stuff. Okay. Her grandmother and some family members actually found her. There was, from what I'm understanding, Trevor and Ahliana were engaged in this relationship. They had a whole full blown out relationship, and they spoke about it as it was a volatile, abusive relationship. So people knew that he was abusive to her. People were, first of all, the relationship itself is abuse. So let's just get into that. Now, I had to go look because, it's different in different cities, different states and stuff. Over there in Massachusetts, the age of consent is 16 years old. So his whole existence with Little Miss Ma'am was abuse. Okay? So shame on everybody who even knew that was going on. Shame on every individual who knew that it was going on and who could sit there with a straight face talk about they in a relationship. Because we're no 21-year-old be in no relationship with my 15-year-old, male or female. The hell is that? So the whole existence of the two of them is abuse. Okay? So that's going on. Now I got questions. How is she in the 8th grade at 15? How's she in the 5th grade or the 8th grade at 15? That means she's way, way behind. So I'm just going to stick right there for a minute. Being that far behind in your schooling, no matter what the rest of your life is saying, you're not mature enough to have your own apartment. If you're only at an 8th grade level, there's no way that you are in the mindset to be take care of a home and take care of yourself. So we got a 15-year-old girl. So here's all these questions that I have, because there's this terrible thing that has happened now, and now we're faced with trying to figure out what all happened, why did it happen, why, that whole hindsight. Oh, I can't believe, because that's one thing that I can't stand. I can't stand the late birthday ain't gonna hold you that far back. A late birthday will give you, everybody else is graduating at like 17, turning 18, and you are 18, damn near get ready to be 19. But 8th grade at 15, I have an early birthday. I'm a January baby. So I got to move on quickly. So I just to put that into some perspective. I was 15 the summer that I became, how summer goes, and then you become a senior. The summer that I became a senior, going back into school, I was 15. So, late birthday won't get you to 8th grade. There's at least 2 years. She has at least 2 years that she is behind, even if she got a late birthday. She has at least 2 years that she's behind the class that she should be in. And now there's, then there's really no need to really do it. And And I guess that'll help y'all too. I worked at the school. I worked at school, so I'm not just popping this off the top of my head. I worked at a school for years. But yeah, she's at least 2 years behind. At least 2 years behind. And some of the pictures that they had actually shown, it didn't do justice to what we were really dealing with. Because there's a few pictures where they had her looking a little bit more grown up. But at the end of the day, she's a little girl. She's a 15-year-old little girl. And he's grown. Though he looks a little young, he's 21 years old. 21 years old. So we didn't get the whole background story. I haven't seen anything with why is she living on her own like that. And it just seemed that it was just a regular apartment. They speak about it like it's just a regular apartment, not a program that she's in or anything like that. And then there's definitely, family involvement because the grandmother was meeting her at the graduation. So just had a lot of questions around that. And then everybody knew. What kind of town is this? Everybody knew, and ain't nobody saying nothing. Okay, so here's another thing. How they actually catch up with old dude is because there was a phone call made that night on the 13th. So that would have been the 13th, which would have been Thursday night. There was a phone call made to the police because there was a ruckus outside and they heard her screaming and yelling with him. And she's screaming and hollering for help and saying, "Get off of me, leave me alone. I don't want to be with you anymore." Somebody thought enough to call the police. But they said the police actually came out, but no, they didn't see anybody. So they just left. So there's a hot tip of somebody out there screaming and yelling. Y'all go out, you don't see anybody on the street, and you just go on. You don't go talk to the neighbors who made the call. You just don't do nothing. You just go have another donut. Is that it? What town is this? What town is this? Because if the screaming and yelling is that bad, what's really going on? There was another thing that was written is that they heard gunshots. They said they had heard gunshots. Now, I don't know if that was reported after the fact. Did the first call, I didn't hear the phone call. Did the first call just say, okay, somebody out there arguing and carrying on? But you thought enough of the call to come out. But then you did no investigation. You drove away, and here's the thing. How did the cops feel? Because when you came out there and you looked around and you didn't see anybody on the street arguing, you know why they weren't arguing, you jackass? Because they were done arguing because that baby was laying in that house gone. Gone. She was gone. And possibly, she may not have even been gone. But we know she was shot and he was already gone. He had to look, he left in an Uber. He ordered an Uber and got in the Uber and had left. So she may have actually still been able to be saved, possibly, when they came out. But we'll never know because they came out and did absolutely zero investigation. You all know she got a 21-year-old boyfriend. Nobody thought to come outside. Everybody was so comfortable with the 15-year-old dating the 21-year-old that you hear the 15-year-old screaming and hollering with the 21-year-old saying, "Get off of me," this, that, thing, and the other, and you don't intervene at all. You just turn a blind eye to it. And I guess now everybody's sitting around saying, "I can't believe that happened." Really? It's a bit too late for that, isn't it? Anyway, so this is how they ended up catching up with old boy, because there was surveillance on the cameras outside that they ended up, after the grandmother and them found her the next day, they get from the surveillance camera, they see him. He actually showed up in an Uber. He ended up leaving in an Uber. He did the dirty deed, and then he called himself another Uber, and he left in the Uber. They literally got in contact with one of the Uber drivers who actually ID'd him, and then they were able to actually get him. And they got they went ahead, picked him up, and all of that, locked him up. He was arrested. And with no problem. He didn't give him no issues about the arrest, and he pled non-guilty. He pled not guilty, and he was held without any bail. And here's the other thing. Someone has actually told the police that 2 days before this actually happened, she had shared with somebody that he told her he was going to kill her, and he would kill her grandmother. So I'm going to say this to y'all, like y'all don't know this already. When somebody tells you who they are, you damn well better believe them. Who are these people? Who is the person that she confided in that the boyfriend told her he would kill her and kill the grandmother? And you already know he a whole grown-ass man. You already know something ain't right with him, because he a whole grown-ass man dating an 8th grader. How do you even sit and look at yourself and say, yeah, my woman is in the 8th grade? Something wrong with you? And then you're making these type of threats. Like, there were so many flags. This all just seems so ridiculous to me. And this is why it actually stuck with me, because it was like, if there was ever a time that something like this could have been avoided, I think it's this time. I think this could have totally been avoided if people would have did their due diligence. If somebody would have acted as a goddamn adult. Nobody acted as an adult. Everybody let her pretend she was an adult. She wasn't an adult. She was a child. She was a child who actually reached out. She actually reached out in the way that a 15-year-old would. And ain't nobody paying attention. Ain't nobody paying attention. A 15-year-old is not your peer. Yes, they stand up in the street and they cuss you out. The new generation, shit, I was that kid. I'll stand up and cuss your ass out when I was 15. Baby, what? I grew up a little different. I was a little gay boy. I had to get the tough skin and carry on because people would carry on. It's different. Things are different when you're gay. They're different. So sometimes you got to be a little hard around the edges and you got to take care of yourself. But yeah, at 15, I will cuss your ass out. But when I go back on that, I think it was disgusting. And I've actually spoken about that with my mother and my grandmother and other people who were adults around me. You know, I've spoken about those things once I became an adult, about where you all dropped the ball. You know, no, they ain't like to hear it. They didn't like to hear it, but I definitely spoke it. I have definitely spoken, and I've written about it, where some of my adults dropped the ball. But there was a lot of lessons learned. That's why I spoke about it. All adults are not to be trusted. All adults don't have an adult mentality. And obviously, we got a whole town full of adults that are nothing but children their goddamn selves. And one of our babies have perished. All because of what? All because of what? July the 30th is the next court date for old boy. And it's alleged. Everything is alleged because he says he didn't do it. He says he didn't do it, but all roads lead back to the 21-year-old. All roads lead back to the 21-year-old. A hot mess. A hot mess. That's really it. I'm really disgusted with this. So I really don't have anything more that I want to add. Is there anybody out there that wants to add anything to this? I know I see my friend Mecca, Pastor Mecca, that is actually out there. Mecca, would you like to add anything? Do you have any words for this, my love? Is there anything you would like to add? I will drop a link for you to get up here if there's something you would like to add to this. But this is heavy. I'm real disgusted. She said, yep. Okay, let me get Mecca up here, you guys. Oh shoot, I don't know if you can actually get it from here. Let me see. Hold on, babe. I might have to take it and go into, because she's coming in from Facebook. Hold on. Hold on, Mecca. Bear with me, babe. Bear with me. Bear with me. Give me a second, folks. So I can get Mecca in here. Okay, you should be able to see it now, Mecca. Anybody else who actually wants to hit the link, feel free to hit the link and come up and give if you have something that you'd like to say or something that you would like to add, or if there's something of this story that you've actually heard prior to getting here, by all means, the floor is open for you to speak. Blaze said, I remember being 15. It was only 10 years ago. I did do things that my parents would have had a total fit about. So I can't blame the family 100%, but they do carry some responsibility. Right. I mean, we all did. Listen, I done been some places where I know my mother would have had a fit that I was there, child being grown. But I ain't had no apartment. So you don't just go get no apartment at 15. Who's paying for it? See, there's a lot of questions with that little tidbit. Who's paying for this apartment? Who's paying for? Who signed the lease? Who signed the lease? Something just ain't right. Something just is not right. Something not right. Okay, here's Mecca.
Okay.
Uh,
Hello.
hello, my love.
How are you?
I'm good. Go ahead and introduce yourself to the lovely folks.
Yes, yes. So I am Pastor Mecca Dixon, longtime friend and one of the favorites of our host and amazing. I'm one of the favorites. Anyway, um, I jumped on here and my heart. And I typed in the comments as fast as I could type. I was just typing, like, let me explain something. My heart is so broken because of the lack of involvement that adults are taking. We have taken a position that is absolutely unacceptable. The road that we've chosen to take, and I get it. You were saying how when you were young, you might have to cut somebody out or whatever the case may be. But even in those times, even right now, when our young people are willing to stand up flat footed, cut you out, say what it is that they need to say, at the end of the day, there was still somebody from the village that was going to snatch your tail up, take you to somebody that did have a word in your life, or somebody that would be willing to show a sign of listening, care, concern, something. What ended up happening was we save a life.
Right.
And I'm so aggravated with our position to say, oh, that's not my business. That's not my child. These kids are this. These kids are that. At the end of the day, they're still children. And we think it's funny and we think it's cute and we think it's to see them laid up with guys that they know that they have no business being laid up with. We know for a fact that, and again, at the end of the day, I know we make these allowances because they're 21 and we say, oh, well, that's right outside the age of, no, that is adulthood at the end of the day. That man was 21 years old. She's eighth grade. There's no way that you make that acceptable. It's not acceptable.
Right.
And it is over the time of us closing our eyes, putting blinders on, turning our head, talking about it ain't mine. I remember growing up in a society, in a community where they're all ours. Everybody's is everybody's. It don't matter that you belong to somebody else. No, the village is speaking. And we're not getting ready to let you just do this. And then to your point, when you talk about how, people are saying, like these young men are making comments like, yeah, because if it ain't me, I'm gonna take you out. You can't be with nobody else. I don't know why we're still taking that lightly.
That's when they're raising you to their hand.
Period.
She's not mature enough to even be dealing with him. He's raising her to his hand. That's
Period.
not cute.
It's
It's
not.
not cute. And that was my whole point. Like when I said, when I wrote the book and all of that stuff. And that's why I came to my mother and because yes, I took care of my stuff. Yes, I had a strong back. Yes, I had a fast mouth. Yes, I would fight. All those things, but it wasn't cute that I even had to go there.
At all.
It wasn't cute. It really wasn't cute.
At all.
Thank God I had the chutzpah to actually do it, to take care of myself where I wouldn't put myself in a dark corner and all those things that could actually happen. But it wasn't cute and it really was unnecessary.
So I get on a regular basis, and I'm just want to paint this picture for just a second. My children are involved in a little bit of everything. They play sports, they're in dance, they're in everything. We attend my son's football games, basketball games, like anything he's having, I'm there without question. More than often, you might hear the young boys, they're 14, 15, some of them maybe a little, maybe pushing to that 16 age. But they out there cussing and talking to you like they about that life. And in those moments, I see a lot of the parents look away in disdain. They put their heads down. They're just like, oh, unacceptable, ridiculous. Like they just can't believe that some of these young people are out there like that. In that moment, regardless of what could happen, might happen, whatever, I just strongly believe that if we stop looking at them, shaking our heads and turning our eyes and check them like I so often do, because I'll quickly turn around and be like, I don't know if your mother let you talk like that, but what I bet not never hear is you talking like that in front of me, who's an adult, because I don't play them games. We don't do disrespect. And in that moment, I don't care whose child it is. And you can go tell your mama I said it, because that's what I'll tell them. It is so beautiful to me that was one thing that I've said to them at the beginning of the season. Do you know to this day, if they slip up and say something, excuse me, Miss Dixon, excuse me, my bad, ma'am, my bad.
Because they're not all bad.
They're
not all bad. It's just, and they can actually
and
be,
they're
some
still
of them
children.
Yeah,
and they're battling with right. They're just battling with, I'm becoming a young woman, I'm becoming a man, but I still need guidance. I still need direction. I still need somebody to show me that they care. And that's really what most of them are asking for. And what kills me is we position ourselves to let anything happen, and then we look at things like R. Kelly. Oh, now we've got a lot to say. But them parents was sending them babies up in there.
Taking
Y'all
them,
sat back
Sparkle
drinking your beers and rolling with them like they was your best friends. Like
we
that was
knew
all
for
cute and okay.
That Sparkle took her niece. She was working with him, making songs and all. She took her niece. They dropped her off, came back and got her.
Period.
Handed them to her.
Period.
Or handed her to him.
Yeah. But it's a sad situation because, again, we're playing as if it doesn't end in a lost life. And it does.
This was terrible. And now it's that, oh, I can't believe that happened. But what makes you think that's something adult? Because this is what happened. It was something adult that happened. This happens more times than we like to admit. And this is what abusive relationships look like. Abusive relationships don't have an age on them. They just have an end date.
Period.
They always have an end date. And it don't always be for the good. Most times it's not for the good. Somebody usually gets hurt.
That's right. But the other thing that kills me, James, and I'm going to tell you, this really blows me. If you 40 years old, getting your head knocked and bust up against the wall and can't figure out how to get out, how in the world you thought this baby was going to get out?
Right.
Because you still running around with your eyes swole up talking about he ain't mean to do it.
It's bothersome, Mecca. It really is bothersome. It was, I was like, when I seen the first piece of it. Then, as I kept digging, I'm like, I'm getting irritated.
Yeah.
I'm getting irritated. I went to try to do something else. It just would not get up on, because I don't, I am a feel-good channel. I come to usually make y'all laugh and, kiki a little bit. But when something get up on me, I got to get it off. I went and mopped and everything, and I just could not get away from it. I had to keep coming back to it. And I'm like, let me go push this button.
See, this doesn't, if I'm being 100% honest, it doesn't set well with me for a lot of reasons. But I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure even if you and I talked about it, but the young lady that was killed 2 years ago now by her boyfriend, she was 5 months pregnant, my cousin, Carly Short, daughter of Brandon Short, who graduated from McKeesport, went to the NFL, all of that, that happened over in McKeesport. The amount of times in which there was somebody that could have been a voice to say that this relationship ain't good. Or when this person tells you that if they can't have you, nobody will. Like, we can't keep playing with this.
Mm-mm.
You can't take that lightly.
That's real. People don't just say stuff like that. That your mind don't even, if everything's okay with you, everything is above board with you, your mind doesn't even work like that.
Period. 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 Yeah, period. And then if it is that you are the type of person who genuinely feels like maybe you saying something is going to, maybe it's going to get you cussed out. So what? I'm willing to take that sacrifice.
It's across the bridge, Mo. From where I live, it's literally across the bridge and down the road a bit.
Yeah. I'm willing to take the sacrifice because if me intervening means, even if it means that, you know, um, you don't talk to me no more, I'm cool with that. But you're still here.
Yeah.
You
I'd
might
rather
be
you
in
be
your
mad at me
feelings,
than,
but
yeah.
you're still here.
I'd rather you be mad at me than not breathing.
Period.
Because it's eventually you'll figure it out. You'll figure out what
And
I
and
was
and
doing.
and and then to add to that, what you said that really just when you was like, "Do you want to join?" Yes, I do, because
Somebody need to hear it.
when you said she reached out, when I looked back and was like, "Wait a minute, this baby did what she knew to do," because again, after all, I've only got a 15-year-old mind. I don't have a 21-year-old mind. I
And
don't
she
have a
wasn't with other
25-year-old
15
mind.
year olds, Mecca. Because it'd be different if she'd be a different 15-year-old if she actually was with the kids in the grade that she's supposed to be in. Because the other 15-year-olds are in with the seniors and the juniors who are in her life grown women, right? Closest thing to it. No, you over there with the babies. Middle school.
Yeah,
You are over there with the babies. You just learned what an abacus was.
just
And that was a whole nother. I'm like, where's the rest of the stuff? And I'm sure it will come.
right,
Maybe when the
right.
trial happens, it'll come. There's some more to this.
But see,
There's some more to
where
this.
are the parents and the village of her life? Where are they? And see, I'll be irritated because I'm probably not gonna watch the news for a little while. Because the first time I see them all standing outside with a pack of balloons and a t-shirt that says "Gone too soon, R.I.P. my baby," this, that, and the third, when y'all sat around thinking that it was all right. See, that's the part that sets me on a whole nother level. That's just like the parent who sits with their child when they finally got to go to court and they looking at 25 years of life because they was out here tussling, hustling, banging, and busting, and you let them come in with those thousands of dollars in their pocket and no job. You knew better. Now you want to protest. Now you want to say something. Now you want to speak up. I am so tired of deadbeat parents. They deadbeat to me.
Where
And for
else is
you to
still?
say that they're only we walking away and we turning our backs on them because they're not ours. What happened to them all being ours?
That's what
And I
Deidre
know
said.
whoever that was that said, "Who D too nice." villages ain't coming no more and don't look like they coming back around. That's exactly what it feels like. But we got to change that narrative. Those of us that can, we have to. We have to. We have to.
That's this Miss Jean. Yeah, like the whole thing. Grandma's meeting her at the 8th grade graduation. Meeting her, not taking her, meeting her there. Crazy. It's crazy. That is crazy to me. Who thought it was a good idea for her to be living on her own at 15? Who thought that was a good idea? I guess the same people that thought it was a good idea for her to be dating that old man. Was he the one paying the rent?
There's so many pieces. I need answers because I don't get it. I don't get it. But what I do know is that again, I don't even think I want to watch the news because I'm telling you right now, the first one that I see up there talking about, I can't believe that this. Why you can't?
Bridget, that's not what the story said. She's found in her own house, not her dad's house, in her own house. That's what I read 15 different times, that she was found in her own apartment. I never even heard talk of her dad. I've seen pictures of her with her dad, but I never heard talk of the dad. And again, remember, she wasn't found until the next day after 6 p.m. So if that was her dad's house, ain't there some other family members?
Something.
Nobody else was going to that graduation that would have lived in that house? If there was another adult living in the house, I could imagine they would have been at the graduation. Somebody would have came home. It's I know there's programs that help the young people get along, in their life with things, but not 15. Not 15. You can't consent to sex at 15. You definitely can't sign a lease.
Yeah. And it's challenging for me because,
Okay,
I live
one
in North
news channel
Carolina now.
reported that. Okay, yeah, I didn't hear that bit.
I live in North Carolina now. And in North Carolina, one of the requirements of legal age is 16. Like you are an adult at 16. They treat you as an adult for any of your personal life matters, doctor's appointments, whatever. Honey, they look at me like my head screws off and on because I'm at all the doctor's appointments in the back with the doctor and my kid. I know she's 16 and...
Right. AJ said at 15 she'd be in a group home. Absolutely. Circle C
that
or
part.
something of that nature. Three Rivers Youth. So, of course, I know those programs.
Right.
But that's where she would be. Or with
and
another
even
family
even
member.
here, they put them in group home placement.
Right. Or she'd be in foster care because she's still at the age to be with a foster parent.
Correct.
She got 3 more whole years that she would qualify for foster care.
Correct. It's just
so she's been failed by her family, the system, just literally everybody around her. Every adult around her failed her.
And even if, let's just say for kicks and giggles, who are the people in the boy's life that was messing with her?
We ain't even saying that yet, or nothing about him really. Because there's some people around him that failed him too. Because ain't nobody tell him no.
Homie, what are you doing? Homie, what is this? Somebody should have said something.
Yeah.
You should have been clown for real.
Absolutely, because it's definitely giving Chester tease. They weren't in school together. Where'd you even run into her at? It wasn't that thing of, there's always that little fine line of like, little girls that are in the ninth grade and the boys that are in the 12th grade, you
That
know,
part.
and people will
This
kind of
wasn't
make
even that.
allowances for that. But we damn sure ain't making no allowance for you being in the ninth grade and him being in the first year of college. See how what a difference a day makes. Where did you, sir, run into that baby? What
Yeah, that
playground
ain't
were
it.
you on? It's yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot.
What I know is that at some point, and again, I know that the Bible tells us that this is absolutely going to be, right? These things are going to happen. But I also am a very firm believer that there are a group of people with foresight and knowledge, some discernment, some something that's willing to get out in the streets and do what is necessary to stand for what is right and care for these babies who don't have sense enough to know what to do for themselves.
She was definitely in a position that she wasn't equipped for. She ain't even been here.
Not even close.
She ain't even been here long enough.
Not even close. There's nothing that would have made her mental acuity ready for dating someone that was of high school age, let alone.
Right. Because she was not in high school. She was in the eighth grade. Eighth grade. Get ready to
And
have
my
her eighth
heart
grade
is
graduation.
sick. Like I'm sick. I looked at my kids today and was just like, God, my God. And my children come home on a regular basis like, Mom, my friends don't have parents like you. Okay. I understand that they don't.
That I don't know why you telling me because I don't want to hear it.
But
I'm gonna say what
um,
I'm saying.
what I am telling you is, since they don't, the only responsibility that y'all have or the obligation that you have is to make sure that they know if they can't talk to their parents, they can come and talk to yours.
Right.
Because I'm that parent. When something jumps off at that school, I don't care if it's mine or it's somebody else's. I am up there. Johnny on the one, like, and who is the advocate or parent to speak for this child? If there isn't one, let it be me. Here she go.
There's always them people around when I was growing up.
And don't get me wrong, it's a couple of them out there. I mean, there's one in particular. I had to tell my children, you got to let him go. They love him like a brother. They really, really do. And for a long time, I still call him my son. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like, you know, he jumped out there. He left his mama's house. Mama's on drugs. Sister tried to do the best she could, but she's just now turning 21 and she got 2 kids.
Mm-hmm.
So she couldn't raise her little brother either. But again, I intervened, try to help out, be there, whatever. And to some degree, I genuinely believe that there are some things that may have not even come into existence because of my presence. But at the same time, I've also had to tell my children, it is not y'all's job to save him. Y'all refer him back to mama, but don't y'all mess around and catch something that was intended for him because we can't save them all. But we
Right.
do what we can. We don't turn no blind eye and walk away.
Act like it ain't happening.
Correct. And I get it. Like, it's hard because that was the reason why I left the classroom. I stopped teaching in the classrooms. Went into operations because guess what? It's not the kids, it's the parents. I'm trying to help your child to be better, see better, do better, live better. And then you come up here and got a whole problem. So I get why so many people turn their heads and be like, that's not my problem. But again, we've got to continue to fight the fight to make sure that every child knows that, yes, they're ours too. Because the reality is, Some of these parents are just plain goofy.
Right. Being in the world by yourself is that's heavy. Or feeling like, because you're never in the world by yourself. You just
Right.
don't know who's there. That's heavy.
Yes,
That
it is.
that feeling of being alone. That's where a lot of that depression comes from in young people when they feel like they out there by themselves. That's heavy.
Yeah.
It's heavy.
Yeah. It
I don't
definitely
know,
is.
Mecca. But thank you so much for
Well,
coming up.
we're gonna keep praying. We're gonna keep pushing.
That's
We're
it.
gonna
And
keep
I'm gonna keep
fighting.
following this. Ain't nothing I can do but keep following this because I feel like there's more.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
something will make more sense to me down the road, and maybe something will just piss me off even more. But I'll be
Well,
watching.
I already told you what's gonna piss me off. So I'm gonna probably wait a minute. I probably need to
Like,
pull back from catching any news stories at home for a little while. Cause I'm telling you right now, as soon as I see Ray Ray Pookie, Nuck Nuck, Auntie Cheryl, Auntie TJ, Auntie PJ, and Aunt Mimi standing out there in their t-shirts with the balloons for the candlelight visual, and we wasn't available no other time. No, don't do me. Don't do me. Uh. Mm-mm. I gotta remember that I'm a pastor and I love the Lord because I'd be ready to
don't
fight
start.
you.
Don't start.
That part.
You know what?
Although, let me just go ahead and give that little caveat too for those that be like, "Oh, well, she's a pastor, but she feel no," because Peter cut ears off. Read that book for yourself. God bless your ministry. Love you.
Thank you, Mecca.
Bye, babe.
All right, baby. That is Pastor Mecca, you all. Y'all know we love when she visits, y'all. We love when she visits. Listen, I don't have anything else to add to this right now. I'm pretty done. I'm pretty wiped with this. But I definitely wanted to share that with y'all. Like I said, this is just the beginning of this. They'll be going back to court on the 20th of July. No, July 30th. July 30th. So when I hear something, I will definitely be clicking the link and letting you all know. So that part. All right, you all. Listen, I hate to do that to y'all where it's real heavy like this, but ain't nothing there's nothing I can do to lighten this. There really is nothing I can do to lighten this. So listen, be good to one another. I love y'all all for real. I'm still on a high from Juneteenth. So still happy Juneteenth to you all. It is what it is, and I will definitely catch you all on the flip side. Rest in peace, uh, little Miss Dickey. Rest in peace, dear. It's gonna we're gonna get it figured out down on this side. You rest in peace, sweetheart. All right, y'all. This has been Kitchen Table Talk Live with Spillitboy TV. I will catch you all next time. Good night. And feel like Nicole, you said you're really ending this with be good to one another after you trashed a mourning family. I'm sorry that you actually feel that way because that is definitely not my intention. But I don't have an argument for you with that. But that's definitely not my intention. And I'm sorry that you feel that way. But I ain't taking nothing back from it. Everything that I said, I stand 10 toes down at. And quite honestly, before I take anything away from it, I would add to it. Have a good night, Nicole.